First at 12:30, Adair Park residents are renewing their concerns about a possible data center coming into their neighborhood. The steps commissioners are considering with this proposal. Plus, the Gwinnett County School District is revising its redshirting policy after backlash from parents. How the school says it's going to handle placement in kindergarten. And we're meeting the man behind the moves of MJ the Musical as it makes a stop right here in the A. We will hear how he was inspired by the king of pop himself. Hey, and thank you so much for joining us here at 11Alive Plus at 12:30. I'm Faith Jesse, and we start with this. Today, Atlanta City Council members are taking up an ordinance that could reopen the door for a data center in Adair Park. The neighborhood is on the city's southwest side. It's not a final vote, but it does restart a process some neighbors thought had ended last year. 11Alive's Ariana Maniz has more.
This ordinance before the Atlanta City Council Zoning Committee will start the process of possibly approving a data center to be built in Adair Park. During today's City Council meeting, this discussion marks the formal beginning of a process that includes community meetings and the collection of public feedback on this proposal. And we did hear from residents today during public comment, raising concerns about data centers in that area. That's despite repeated reminders from city attorneys during the meeting that specific ordinance were not open for comment, only in general terms. Now, many residents thought this issue would not come up again as the city passed an ordinance back in 2024 limiting data centers near high-capacity transit stops like the Atlanta Beltline and the West End MARTA station. But city leaders say what's up for discussion today is more detailed, including retail requirements, noise limits, and power use guidelines. Now, before today's meeting, neighbors have voiced their concerns, saying that they still do not want a data center in their community, expressing what can happen if one is built in their area.
A lot of people have concerns about the noise. A lot of people have concerns about the power and cause impact on our utility rates. Same with water. So there are definitely concerns like that. The way that's being built with so much surface parking, it's going to create a heat island. Put it somewhere isolated where it belongs, but not here.
Now, this is part of a broader conversation that we're seeing in other communities across Metro Atlanta. Like in DeKalb County, the Board of Commissioners tabled a resolution that will put regulations in place for data centers. And on the state level, we see state lawmakers considering a bill that will place a one-year moratorium on data centers. We will continue to follow these bills as they move across on the local level as well as the state level. Reporting live from Atlanta, I'm Ariana Maniz for 11Alive.
Thanks to Ariana for that report. Hey, it is cold out there, but the sun is out. Meteorologist Melissa Nord joining us. Melissa, it is not warming up anytime soon, even though it kind of looks sunny out there.
It's deceptive, Faith.
It's deceptive.
It certainly is. We're up with sunshine now, and we've actually climbed above 40 degrees here at the 12 o'clock hour today, up to 41. Still a breeze coming in from the north and west. That dry air is still in place. So that breeze is creating the wind chill effect once again this afternoon. But hey, our numbers are running about 10 degrees warmer than yesterday. That's a nice little sign as you step outside today. Current temperature up to the north, though, still in the 30s from Gainesville to Duluth. Marietta still at 39 and 35 currently in Blairsville. It's 43 right now in Covington. So wind chills are around the freezing mark at the moment. We'll see them climbing into the mid 30s this afternoon. The clouds we had this morning are thinning out, so I expect bright skies for the rest of this Wednesday. We're up to 41 at the moment. We'll top out kind of 45-ish this afternoon. It's going to be chilly for this time of year, but not as cold as where we're headed by this weekend. So high temperature, kind of low 40s to mid 40s here in the metro. That's running about 10 degrees below average for this time of year. This weekend, prolonged cold snap. Also the possibility of maybe snow bracing parts of East Georgia with the developing coastal system. I'll show you the latest in the models on that. We'll talk about how many hours we could see consecutively below freezing. That's ahead in the full forecast.
I can feel the cold from now. All right, Melissa, thank you so much for keeping us prepared. Right now, jury selection is underway for the decades-old murder of Tara Baker. Baker was a first-year law student at the University of Georgia when police found her dead inside of her Athens home back in January of 2001. New court documents reveal that she was beaten, strangled, stabbed, and sexually assaulted before her killer set her room on fire and locked her inside. That case went cold for more than 2 decades. And then in 2024, police arrested 48-year-old Edric Faust. Investigators say advances in DNA technology helped link him to this murder. Opening statements are set to begin on Monday. Well, the man accused of killing a pregnant woman in Monroe is now in jail. Dorius Brooks, he was taken into custody in Barrow County last night. And Barrow County Sheriff Judd Smith says that he will be taken to Walton County to face murder charges. According to Monroe police, Brooks shot Tiona Stokes on Sunday. Stokes was pregnant with a baby boy who also died. She also leaves behind a 2-year-old daughter. Family members say that she was a student teaching in Gwinnett County and that she was set to graduate from Kennesaw State in May. Gwinnett County Schools backtracking on its plan to enforce a ban on redshirting in kindergarten. That is when parents, they delay their child's start by a year based on their development needs. The change comes after parents expressed concern over the district's plans to change that. 11Alive Stephanie explains why parents say it left them with little to no flexibility.
Yeah, and this is all because back in December, Gwinnett County Schools says it was going to start requiring all 6-year-olds be in first grade. That did not go well with parents, and now the district is looking like it's changing its mind, backtracking, saying that next school year they will be using an updated process that will ensure parents are involved in discussions and decisions regarding their child. And, you know, if they feel their child is ready to make that move from pre-K to kindergarten. Now, overnight, Georgia State Representative Scott Hilton posting this image online to Facebook announcing a new bill at the state capitol, which would give parents, not school districts, the final say on when their child starts kindergarten or first grade. Now, one local mom here in Gwinnett County tells 11Alive News that in the past she did redshirt one of her children, and she also shared with us that she believes kindergarten is not one size fits all.
Within his private pre-K, had him tested to see if he was ready for kindergarten, and we were advised by the school as well as our pediatrician and even speech and OT that it would be better and in his best interest to delay a kindergarten start.
One of the sponsors of this bill said that parents should be empowered to make enrollment decisions regarding their children based on their child's individual readiness. I'm Stephanie 11Alive News.
And as a reminder for parents and students at Lithia Springs High School, there was a water main break at the school. Right now, they're working to repair it. Officials have not said what caused this break at this hour, but families, they should get an update by 5 o'clock this evening on the school's website to plan for tomorrow. A new generation prepares for deep space. We look at how the upcoming Artemis 2 mission to the moon and how the road back runs through history. Stay with us. That's coming up right here on 11Alive Plus.
So it is Wednesday, and that means we're all looking ahead towards the weekend. I want you to know this weekend is going to be an impactful weekend for us because it is going to be very cold outside. And at the same time, we're going to be watching some moisture that could bring light snow to parts of the area. So number one bullet point, the deep freeze. I don't want this to get lost in the headlines of the chance of snow because we could see parts of North Georgia below freezing for more than 48, even more than 60 consecutive hours. Not everybody will see that, but especially far North Georgia could go below freezing Friday evening and not pop back above it until sometime Monday around midday. Now, at the same time, we're watching a coastal storm that's going to bring the possibility of light snow to at least eastern Georgia with light accumulations a possibility. Even light accumulations, though, in this particular setup could turn untreated roads slick in a hurry. And that's because a lot of cold air is building in at the same time. Here's the setup. Area of low pressure forming either just south of Georgia or off the coast of the Carolinas. The further kind of earlier that it forms, the better chance that we'll see some of that snow wrapping in our area. But that's going to work its way up the coastline, rapidly strengthening, or we call it deepening. And this coastal storm is going to send some moisture counterclockwise around it on Saturday. By Sunday, that's moving off the coast of the Outer Banks, and eventually big ol' nor'easter expected potentially for places like Cape Cod and Boston. All right, but you can see the high building in behind it. That's the really cold Arctic air. So it is going to send in a prolonged cold snap to North Georgia. And, you know, models, they're not all in good agreement about how far west that snow will get. The American keeping it pretty much on the state line, the European bringing it a little farther inland. And there are those differences in the models, but this is something we're watching very closely. So at this point, the significant accumulating snow with this system, that's going to stay east of us. This would be a minor accumulation amount event, but with temperatures very cold during and after the snow, any untreated roadways would become slick or snow covered in a hurry. So East Georgia keeping that possibility of light snow in the forecast. Those are some of the same areas that just got the highest freezing rain amounts over last weekend. Here in the metro, it's still a big question mark. We feel that at least some flurries could fly during the day on Saturday, but it's hard to know at this point with things not in really clear view 48 hours out yet of just how far west that light snow will end up getting. So we are watching that for the weekend, but the larger impact will be the cold. Look at Saturday morning's temperatures, teens and low 20s. That's no different from how much of this week has gone, but as that snow moves in, it would be a powdery snow with temperatures in the 20s, not a really wet snow. And then Sunday morning, refreezing again. We're down to the teens and even some single digits possibly Sunday morning in far North Georgia. Notice Sunday afternoon, a lot of North Georgia not climbing above freezing. That could be all day Saturday, all day Sunday with sub-freezing temperatures. Once we get above kind of the 55 to 60 hour threshold, we start to see the issues of pipe bursts going up, or at least pipes freezing. So we'll be watching that as we head into the back half of the weekend. Most areas, though, don't drop below freezing until about 11 o'clock or so Friday evening. We can see sunshine over North Georgia right now. It's great to see the sunshine, but it's still a bit chilly out there. Temperatures in the low 40s here in Atlanta and even upper 30s in far North Georgia. We'll be topping out mid 40s this afternoon. Sunset time 6:05 this evening. And once the sun sets, clear skies take us back to the 20s by tomorrow morning and some teens in the mountains. Mix of clouds and sunshine tomorrow, 45. Then as we advance into your Friday, we'll track a little moisture coming in. That'll bring some increasing clouds and a few light sprinkles Friday afternoon. As the temperatures start to cool down Friday evening and overnight, we'll see a transition to a few flakes in far North Georgia. And then by Saturday morning, watching that potential that there could be some light snowfall, at least east of the Atlanta metro. Again, this is one model run of one model, so don't get hung up in the details. What we're watching, though, is that chance of light snow for Saturday and also a lot of cold air. So over the weekend, 22 on Saturday morning, 27 for the afternoon. That chance of snow would start around sunrise and continue into parts of the afternoon. But again, the larger widespread impact is going to be that cold. Sunday down to a low of 15 and then 33 for Sunday afternoon. That would put us just above freezing in Atlanta, but North Georgia, north of Atlanta, probably not popping above that freezing mark on Sunday. 7-day forecast, 40s today, tomorrow, and Friday. The freeze over the weekend, rebounding to 50 by Tuesday.
Hey, let's take a live look right now via EarthCam on Launch Complex 39B. This is at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. That is the Space Launch System, which is being prepared to send 4 humans on a journey around the moon, something which mankind hasn't accomplished since December of 1972. The 4-person crew is now in quarantine in the first launch window that opens on February 6th. Well, 40 years ago today, a different spacecraft lifted off from that same launch pad. It was on this date in 1986 that the Space Shuttle Challenger cleared the tower and hurtled into the sky. But the failure of a solid rocket booster 73 seconds after launch that led to the shuttle being destroyed. 7 people on board lost their lives, including New Hampshire school teacher Christina McAuliffe. These 2 moments serve as powerful reminders of what's at stake in human spaceflight and how much is still being discovered. It was a topic of discussion this morning on 11Alive Plus with Judd Reddy, Executive Director of Georgia Tech's Space Research Institute.
We just kind of took a look back at those 2 moments, and when you put those 2 moments together exactly 40 years apart, what do you think this says about our goal and our aim of reaching for the stars eventually?
Explorations, Jonathan, first of all, thank you for having me on here. But I would say exploration is just built into the DNA of humans from the various early beginning, many millions of years ago to today, pushing the boundaries of where a human can live, whether it's expanding across cold areas or expanding into the outer space, living on the moon or just in orbit on the International Space Station.
Yeah, and a lot of people look back to 40 years ago today. As we mentioned, Challenger is often described as a turning point in our country's space program. So how do you think that that moment and that tragedy, if you will, changed the public's understanding of the risks involved when it comes to astronauts and what they do, going up into space?
Vividly, I was in middle school at the time. We had the TV rolled in to social studies class. We were watching it live as it happened. I had wanted to be an astronaut since first grade at that point, so I was all into the space shuttle, really interested in it at the time. It was becoming normal for spaceflight. They didn't even show it on the news. Occasionally for a launch, the astronauts themselves no longer wore spacesuits. They just wore like regular jumpsuits. So there was becoming this, that it was not a dangerous aspect, that it was going to be something just like flying a regular commercial airliner. But unfortunately, we learned very much the hard way that is not the case.
Absolutely. And let's look ahead now to the 4 astronauts flying Artemis 2. What kind of history and how much history do you think they'll be taking with them?
What a wonderful experience. I was just barely 2 years old the last time humans went to the moon. So to have the ability, we all thought we would be having colonies on the moon by now, if you believed all the hype back then. So to be finally back there after all this time, half century into my life at this point, to be able to fly there. We're not landing, we're just testing a variety of different capabilities, but still to be able to visually see the far side of the moon, for instance. Very few humans have done that, only a dozen with their own eyes. We've certainly seen it in pictures. So I think it's great. I think the future of humankind is exploration and settlement and expansion. And the moon's the next logical step, Mars after that, and so on and so forth through the upcoming thousands and thousands of years ahead of us.
Yeah, a lot, still in the pipeline to go. But let's talk before you go. I got about 30 seconds here. When it comes to NASA, how do you think the agency has changed in terms of transparency compared to the shuttle era 40 years ago or so when it came to some of these potential concerns?
I was rereading, just doing my homework before this, to read the lessons learned from the Apollo 1 tragedy, the Challenger tragedy that we're talking about, as well as the Columbia tragedy. All of these happened within a week or so of each other, many decades apart, but they're all like right now, basically. And there's a lot of similarities between them. There's what's called go fever, where there's just, you want to push towards launch, you work so hard, you want to launch. And that comes from astronauts, managers, and engineers along the way. There's the acceptance of deviance, which is when readings are just slightly outside of the nominal full range, but you begin to accept that, so you make the range a little bit bigger, bigger, and bigger. And then finally, there's the not listening to the engineer. I'm an engineer by training, also a manager though, and sometimes we don't make the same decisions as managers as we would as engineers.
And you can catch more interviews like this right here on 11Alive Plus. We'll be back with more news and weather next. Well, it's a performance that pays tribute to the king of pop. MJ the Musical is in town at the Fox Theater, and the man behind the moves in the show is bringing people together through dance. As 11Alive's Joe Ripley reports, it was a childhood dream that inspired his rise to stardom.
Out, in, out, in.
With rhythm in every step and every move in sync, choreographer Justin Prescott coaches the community to do the same.
I discovered it very young, and it's something I discovered I was very passionate about, and so I just continue to do that and obviously share it with people around the world.
Prescott has been dancing since he was 7 years old. He's sent sequenced moves on Broadway shows, including MJ the Musical, now playing at the Fox Theater in Atlanta.
Everybody knows Michael Jackson. Like, if you saw a silhouette of any move of MJ, you'd be like, that's Michael Jackson. He's a pioneer, you know, pioneer of movement, pioneer of style, pioneer of singing.
These dancers are learning the basics and learning to move together.
You don't want to be static.
Torian Cole says dancing the moonwalk is a lot harder than it looks.
Everyone else is learning as well, so you don't feel alone, so you feel like I'm okay to make mistakes, but I can also make it better. I think the most fulfilling part is like actually getting it right and hearing everyone cheer at the same time, and we're all like, we mastered it.
Mastering these moves is a reminder to Cole to get up and go.
I mean, we're always moving, so we're constantly moving, but when you can stylize it, when you're flowing, it's just even better. Like even walking down the street, you got some music in, it just makes your day feel better because you're actually moving with intention.
Inspired by the king of pop, Prescott makes it his mission to pass on MJ's legacy with dance, fostering community.
We've become so detached a little bit just because of social media. So when we're all in a room, like I was saying to them, like they don't know each other, but for them to support one another, to feel love from somebody you don't know, is different than from your family. So it's just like uplifts people in a way that you don't usually get.
Joe Ripley, 11Alive News.
Hey, our thanks to Joe for that report. MJ the Musical runs through Sunday at the Fox Theater. It features a couple of Atlanta natives portraying the likes of Tito Jackson, Quincy Jones, and part of Michael's dance team. Super excited for this. Stay with us. We'll be right back with the final check of your forecast after the break. Welcome back. We have some breaking news into the newsroom. The FBI Atlanta confirming it is executing a search warrant at the Fulton County Election Hub and Operations Center on Campbellton Fairburn Road. This is in Union City. We know that this comes after the Department of Justice just last month sued Fulton County over access to 2020 election materials. The newsroom reaching out here and a spokesperson saying that our investigation into this matter is ongoing. No additional details to be provided at this moment. Once again, breaking news, the FBI executing a search warrant at the Fulton County Election Hub and Operations Center on Campbellton Fairburn Road. When we get more